How to make Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford happen. Listen, this is a fight that's near and dear to my heart because the fact that this fight hasn't been made is very much the manifestation of the corruption of boxing culture. What do I mean by that? As I've argued several times on this channel and over again, boxing culture has been harmed severely because of this business culture that seeped into it decades ago, where promoters want to create this artificial hero for people, right? They find a guy that's talented, they take him to different countries or line him up against, opponents that have no chance. They build this undefeated record. They give us these constant A-side versus B-side fights where we know who's going to win. It harms the guys who are trying to make a career but are going in there and have no shot against the baby face, if you want to call them that. It harms the sport because hardcore boxing fans can see right through the facade. And this fight not being made is a symptom. It's a symptom of that, and I don't want to see what happened between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao happen here, where either the fight doesn't get made or by the time it gets made, they've already aged to the point where you couldn't really determine who the best guy was in their prime. So that being said, as a promoter myself and as an attorney and somebody that's a hardcore boxing fan, I thought to myself, how do we go about making this fight happen? And I feel like it's a pretty easy fix, right? If the two promoters want to work together, which is, kind of the ultimate question and the biggest factor in this, how do they make it work, right? Because at that point, it becomes the purses. Now, Errol Spence has said, he deserves 60-40. I believe he even went as far as to blurt out 70-30. I think that's absurd, but listen, that's just my opinion. You may disagree. But anyway, that's what he's saying. And, that kind of talk is just not going to help get the fight made. If that's the square that he's standing on, you could bet your bottom dollar that Terence Crawford is just going to say, no way, dude. I'm at least as good as you. I'm better than you. I'm number one consensus pound for pound on a lot of these pound for pound lists. I deserve at least 50-50. If anything, I deserve 60-40. So again, how do we come up with a creative solution for this fight? I'm going to tell you guys. There's a very simple solution. In MMA, and at least in my kickboxing promotion, we have a show purse and we have a win purse, right? So the fighters are guaranteed a purse if they show up to the fight, and they're guaranteed a purse if they win the fight. That means typically that the guy who lost the fight doesn't get that win purse. It's almost like a win bonus. So, for me, this is a simple solution that's been utilized in combat sports, specifically MMA and also in my promotion, that would easily overcome any sort of 60-40 or 70-30 or egotistical split, obstacles. What you do is, for example, you say, okay, we're going to go, let's say 40-40, right? Let's say 40-40. And the winner is going to get the 20% difference. Or maybe you could say, we'll go, 45-45, and then the winner gets 55% of the purse. Simple solution, that way they not only have an incentive to perform, which, they're going to anyway, but the winner gets the lion's share of the purse, which is totally fair. I don't see how this can't be fixed right away. And so, besides the fact that Errol Spence said, 70-30, 60-40, whatever, and I'm going to deal with that in a minute, I think this is a simple solution, and a solution where if either guy doesn't agree to it, then they just don't want to fight, right? They just don't want to fight. Now, On the topic of Errol Spence saying 60-40, 70-30, listen, I've got a lot of respect for Errol Spence. I think he's a fantastic fighter. I've thought he was a fantastic fighter since way back when. I've been watching him since he fought Van Heerden, and since he went out to the UK and beat Kell Brook. That's when I was really impressed with him, when he fought Kell Brook, because I knew at the time Kell Brook was a beast. But for him to be in a position to unify against a Terence Crawford, who, let's face it, on pretty much every pound-for-pound list I've ever seen, is ahead of him, right? Terence Crawford is typically listed as number 1 or number 2 on people's pound-for-pound lists, interchangeable with Canelo Alvarez. I'm just being objective here, I don't have any skin in the game. I mean, I like both guys, but for him to make that kind of offer to Terence Crawford, who's known, especially by hardcore boxing fans, to, seemingly be the superior technician and ahead on the pound-for-pound list, is a little bit absurd. I mean, I understand from a business aspect that Errol Spence, may bring in a little bit more as far as money and fans, but even that, is kind of questionable. I mean, Errol Spence Jr. doesn't come across to me as some kind of massive pay-per-view star. Neither does Terence Crawford. Maybe Errol Spence's star is a little bit brighter than Terence Crawford, especially when you're doing a fight in Texas. But when you do a fight in Nebraska, where Terence Crawford's from, I mean, the people come out to support him as well. So I think, look, if both guys are champions, they wanted to determine who the man is in the division, they should fight each other. I just offered a simple contractual solution as a person who's a promoter, an attorney, and a creative, which is what I like to think of myself as. I'm a problem solver. But just right off the bat, when Errol Spence Jr. offers those kind of terms, and again, Errol Spence may win this fight. I mean, I think it's a pick-em fight, right? Just because I feel like he's more physical, whereas Crawford might be a little bit more technical. Although that remains to be seen, and we would find out in a fight between the two of them. But for him to offer those sort of terms to Terence Crawford, it indicates to me, and it comes off to me, right, that Errol Spence just doesn't want to fight. Perhaps Errol Spence wants to get some more, easier fights under his belt and make some money before he confronts Terence Crawford. Perhaps he's awaiting Terence Crawford's erosion, kind of the way I guess Floyd Mayweather did with some opponents, waiting for them to get a little bit older, a little bit slower, lose a little bit of their reflex before getting in there with them. So, it comes off to me, and this is my opinion, that Errol Spence doesn't want to fight right away, and Terence Crawford really wants to fight. I mean, that's the way it comes off to me. But again, that's just my opinion. So my question to you guys is, it's twofold. Do you like my solution? And number 2, do you think Errol Spence really wants this fight as bad as Terence Crawford does? Leave your answer in the comment below. Hit the like button. Definitely hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to know when we post a video. So finally, hit that join button if you want to join and become an official Knuckleheads. It's just $5 a month. You'll not only help me build this channel, but the only kickboxing promotion that matters, you'll be giving back to the sport and helping me create opportunities for these young fighters, hopefully when we return after this lockdown in 2021. Also, get your Fighters Rep gear below. If you like this hoodie, shirts, whatever it is, we got masks, we got everything else. Check it out. I appreciate your support. Knuckleheads, I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. As usual, articulate your point. Don't be obnoxious or insulting. All opinions are welcome here. Everybody's welcome here. This is an open platform. Take care of yourselves.